Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news at 6 here on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi and in the next 30 minutes I'll be getting you all the day's developing stories, starting with the headlines. Polling concludes in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. Moderate to heavy voting reported in all constituencies in the two states and the Union Territory. Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar says he is ready to recommend a CBI probe into the murder of journalist Rajdev Ranjan, calls the murder an attack on himself. Wholesale inflation moves up into the positive zone marginally at 0.34% for April, up from minus 0.85% in March. Industrial production growth also shows a fall by 0.1% in March due to poor performance of manufacturing and mining sectors. And minority protests resurface in Nepal. Hundreds of Madhesis and demonstrators from other ethnic groups take to the streets, seeking more rights and representation in the country's new constitution. But first, our big focus this evening. It was a big day for voters in southern India and an even bigger day for politicians. Assembly polls were held in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry today, and voting began at 7 a.m. in the morning in both the states and the Union Territory and came to an end just about now at 6 p.m. And here's how voting took place on this all-important day.
Superstar Rajinikanth was among the early voters in rainy Chennai as polling began in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry at 7 a.m. today. He was followed a short while later by his neighbour and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha, who is seeking a second straight term in the state.
இன்னும் 2 நாட்கள் பொறுத்தால் அனைவருக்கும் மக்களுடைய தீர்ப்பு என்ன என்பது தெரியும்.
Among other early voters in Tamil Nadu were 93-year-old DMK chief M. Karunanidhi, who hopes to wrest the state back from Jayalalitha, and his daughter Kannimozhi and son M.K. Stalin, who stood in a queue to vote this morning. The DMK has joined hands with the Congress in the state.
திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழகத்தின் வெற்றி மிகச் சிறப்பாக இருக்கிறது. இந்த தேர்தலில் வெற்றி வாய்ப்பு எங்களுக்கு தான் சிறப்பாக இருக்கிறது. அடுத்த ஆட்சி திராவிட முன்னேற்ற கழக ஆட்சி தான்.
Over 100 crore rupees of cash has been seized in Tamil Nadu, where voting was cancelled hours before the elections in 2 of Tamil Nadu's 234 constituencies, Avarakurichi and Tanjavur, following complaints of voters being bribed. Elections will be held there on May 23rd. For the first time, Tamil Nadu witnesses a multi-cornered contest. While actor-turned-politician Captain Vijay Kant leads a 4-party coalition, there is also 47-year-old Dr. Anbumani Ramadas of the PMK who is contesting all seats in Tamil Nadu with an eye on young voters. Meanwhile, in Kerala, where voting was held for all 140 seats, the Left Democratic Front hopes to unseat the Congress-led United Democratic Front. Power has alternated between the two parties every 5 years.
ഞാൻ പള്ളിപ്പുറം പഞ്ചായത്തിൽ 7ാം വാർഡിലാണ്. പള്ളിപ്പുറം സെന്റ് മേരീസ് സ്കൂളിലാണ് എൻ്റെ വോട്ട് നടന്നത്. ഈ ഇലക്ഷനിൽ വോട്ട് ചെയ്തതിൽ വളരെയേറെ അഭിമാനമുണ്ട്. മുൻപത്തേക്കാൾ ഉപരി
I feel very proud. I participated in today's elections. Now I request all of you proudly to participate in this election because it is our democratic right.
Like in Tamil Nadu, where the 90-plus Karunanidhi hopes to be Chief Minister again, in Kerala, charismatic left leader 93-year-old V.S. Achyutanandan is expected to be the Chief Minister if the LDF comes back to power in a closely fought contest with the Congress led by Chief Minister Oman Chandi.
Time we will win the election. We will change the general trend. Last 5 years, the people voted for UDF in all the elections. 3 by-elections to the State Assembly and general election to the Parliament. So this time also they will definitely vote for UDF.
Last phase of the election campaign, this has become more visible and prominent. Many people who belong to the UDF camp, they abandoned their wrong political position and joined with the Left Democratic.
So people want peace. They want development. In Kerala, Congress-led UDF government has been doing very well, and they have done their best to improve the standard of life of the people.
For the first time in Kerala, the BJP is an important factor, and how well it has done will impact the result of today's election. The party has never won an assembly or parliamentary seat in the state, but its vote share has steadily been rising, and it hopes to convert that into seats this time.
Surely favorable for BJP. It all depends. It's a crucial day today, so I am just hoping, keeping my fingers crossed, that the people take the right decision, because it's very important to change the way it is. There is not much development, as people say. The development which they are showing in all the big posters, it's basically done by central government, not the state government, actually with the help of central government, which is the BJP. So all the fund is from the BJP side, not from the UDF. So
Elections were also held for the 30 assembly seats in Puducherry, where Chief Minister N. Rangaswamy, the leader of the All India NR Congress, is seeking re-election. In 2011, the newly formed party by the rebel congressmen had won 15 seats. AINRC, BJP and PMK are going it alone in the polls, while Congress and the DMK firmed up an alliance. While Congress contested 21 segments, DMK contested the rest. Votes will be counted on May 19th in all 5 states, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, West Bengal, Assam and Puducherry, where elections have been held since last month. Votes for the 2 Tamil Nadu constituencies where polling has been deferred will be counted on May 25th. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
All right, and tracking the developments there, our correspondents in all the 3 areas joining us at the moment. We've got Vishal Dhaya who's joining us from Thiruvananthapuram, Ravindra Sharan joining us live from Puducherry, and we've got Akhilesh Suman joining us from Chennai as well. Vishal, if I could come to you first, a very, very important contest, definitely. Give us a sense of what you're seeing around you and how, if you can at least give us an idea of the percentage of the voting has been.
Well, I'll be very quick, Tracy, because it has just started raining again, and it's going to rain heavily now, as it seems from the dark clouds above our heads. As far as the polling percentage is concerned, Tracy, it is 70% almost till 5 p.m. That's the latest figures which we have got from the Election Commission officials. Add on another 1 hour polling figures till 6 p.m. and obviously those who have been in the queues or inside the polling booths after 6 p.m. they will be allowed to cast their votes. So all in all, the Election Commission officials and everyone, including the political parties and candidates also, they are trying to, they are hoping that this time around the poll percentage will surpass the 2011 figure of 75%. So we'll have to wait and watch for at least another 1 hour before we have the final figure for the polling percentage in Kerala, and everybody is hoping that this time around it will surpass the 75% figure of 2011.
All right, thanks so much for joining us, Vishal. Those dark clouds, let's hope it's symbolic, but we don't know for whom, of course, for the left or the Congress. Meanwhile, in Chennai, we've got Akhilesh Suman joining us. Akhilesh, any word, like Vishal is saying, still, of course, early to find out the final voting percentage. But what did you see around you? Give us an idea of, the kind of the mood or the kind of the verdict, in a way, that you perhaps got from the people.
In contrast to Kerala, I think that Tamil Nadu will get more than 80% of votes, because by 3 a.m. only we have heard that it is more than 60%. So it is now 6, and within a minute, few minutes, Election Commissioner is going to announce that how much is percentage, and after 8 he will compile the whole state statistics and then it will come. But it is sure that it will be more than 80%. And as far as as you are telling, the clouds in Kerala, clouds are also here in Tamil Nadu as far as politics is concerned, because even if DMK and AIDMK has the two major alliances that have been confronting against each other, there has been a third front here. And it will be very interesting to see that how much third front is going to spoil the anti-incumbency votes here. And again, the BJP here also is trying to seek in the whole situation, and that it will be interesting to see that whether BJP gets some vote, and if it gets some vote, which votes they are going to get. And it will also that one of the major population, that is around 13% of population, is minority here. And if they vote together in favor of one alliance or the other, that will be very decisive. And I think that this is a very interesting time that Tamil Nadu is going to face. Everyone is telling that 5 years after government changes, but it's not a zero-sum game. Government changes with some region, with some cause. People are telling that yes, there is some anti-incumbency against Jayalalitha, but there has been old anti-incumbency against TMK also. So people will gauge and what are going to happen and who is going to give the better alternative. That is there in the mind of the people, and in Tamil Nadu, people keep their choices close to their chest.
That's right, absolutely. In Puducherry, of course, Ravindra, we do know the voting percentage till about 3 p.m. was already 80%. So that's a huge amount that we're talking about. Give us a sense of what you're learning at the moment.
Yeah, Tracy, the voting percentage which we have received by now, till the data which we have right now till 5:30 p.m. that is, it has crossed 84% of the voting percentage, and this is what Election Commission was exactly expecting. Last year, in the last 2011 election, Pondicherry people has come out and vote for more than 86% voter turnout was there in last election, and this time Election Commission is very optimistic about increasing the percentage of voters. This is though quite premature to give the exact details.
Yes.
The details will come later in the evening when the Election Commission will address a press conference. Then only we will be able to get the real exact figures. But now 83% is a good figure by 5:30 p.m. which we have received from different sources and different areas. Also, this the geographical condition of this Puducherry state, as you are aware of, Karaikal, which is quite 196 kilometers away from the real mainland of Pondicherry. And also in one is 800 kilometers Mahe, that is in Kerala, and Yanam, that is in Andhra Pradesh. So with, the Election Commission will calculate the data they are receiving from all three different enclaves of the Pondicherry, and then they will finally give us the exact details post 6:30 p.m. when the Chief Election Officer of Pondicherry, Mr. S. Kanduval, will address a press conference. In the meanwhile, let me get you back to the development of the day. In the morning, it was a very good percentage which has been started in the morning.
That's right.
People start coming
We'll come back to you, of course, for more updates that eventually come in from the Election Commission. We're looking forward to, of course, more details coming up. But thanks so much for the moment, Vishal, Ravindra and Akhilesh, for joining us with those updates coming in from the southern states. Meanwhile, let's head on to some more national news. And Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar today said that he will ask for a CBI probe into the murder case of journalist Rajdev Ranjan if his family wants it. Condemning the incident, the Bihar Chief Minister said that no one will be spared in the case. In fact, Nitish also rejected the opposition's claim on the deteriorating law and order situation in the state.
कानून व्यवस्था के मामले में, कानून के राज के मामले में मुझे किसी सर्टिफिकेट की जरूरत नहीं है। कुछ भी जो कोई प्रतिक्रिया देगा, कोई मेरे ऊपर टिप्पणी करेगा, मेरे सरकार के ऊपर टिप्पणी करेगा, जो कुछ भी करेगा वह करने के लिए स्वतंत्र है। लेकिन हम बगैर इन चीजों से प्रभावित हुए गंभीरतापूर्वक और निष्पक्षतापूर्वक और बगैर किसी भेदभाव के, बगैर किसी दबाव के, बगैर किसी इलविल के हम अपना काम करते रहेंगे।
Tough words from Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar after the huge public outcry over the death of journalist Rajdev Ranjan. The Siwan bureau chief of a Hindi daily was shot dead in a busy marketplace on Friday. Handing over the investigation to CBI, Nitish Kumar said that the attack on the journalist was like an attack on the government itself.
कहा जा रहा है कि इसकी जांच सीबीआई से कराई जानी चाहिए, तो मैंने तत्काल डीजीपी को कहा कि आप पीड़ित के परिवार से संपर्क कीजिए, वरीय अधिकारी को भेजिए और पुलिस के द्वारा जो भी कार्रवाई की गई है उसके बारे में उनको जानकारी दीजिए और उनसे पूछ लीजिए कि जो जांच कार्य चल रहा है उस पर उनको भरोसा है या नहीं। अगर उनको भरोसा नहीं है और वे चाहेंगे कि सीबीआई की इंक्वायरी हो तो हम लोग इस मामले को सीबीआई को सौंप देंगे।
The BJP meanwhile continued to hit out at the Bihar government. Party workers staged protests across the state even as they demanded justice.
नीतीश कुमार जी अपने बारे में जाने जाते हैं कि वो अपने स्वार्थों के लिए ही राजनीति में हैं और उनकी जो महत्वाकांक्षा थी और उसी के चलते पहले वो जंगल राज कहते थे लालू के राज को, और अब अपने निजी स्वार्थों के कारण उन्होंने वहाँ हाथ मिलाया और परिणाम आज हैं कि पूरा बिहार जल रहा है और नीतीश कुमार जी एक्ट करने की बजाय और एक्टिंग करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
Rajdev Ranjan's family alleged that the journalist was murdered by incarcerated RJD leader Shahabuddin's men. The police arrested two suspects, Upendra Kumar Singh and Shehzad Alam, both known to be Shahabuddin's associates. They were remanded to 14-day judicial custody on Sunday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In more news, the government data on Monday showed wholesale price index rising 0.34% in April after staying in the negative zone for 17 months. As inflation snapped the easing trend and factory output crawled, industry and experts say that the double whammy did not augur well for the economic growth. Here's a report.
Wholesale inflation inched up in April, snapping a 17-month declining trend. Wholesale price index-based inflation rose 0.34% in April compared to minus 0.85% in March. Food inflation stood at 4.23% in April compared to 3.73% in March. Prices of manufactured goods increased 0.71% year-on-year in April. The uptick in WPI inflation comes when retail inflation nudged up to 5.39% in April from 4.83% in March on the back of costlier food prices.
This time calls for a joint efforts from the government as well as the monetary policy makers to come together and to make a policy to reduce the burden on the consumer as well as on the producers as well.
Industrial production growth plunged to 0.1% in March due to poor performance of manufacturing and mining sectors, coupled with a sharp decline in output of capital goods. Industry chambers are now pinning hopes on a favorable monsoon to drive rural consumption and assuage distress in agriculture sector.
People are suffering. 1/3 of the country is reeling under the severe drought that any time this nation has seen. Nearly around 6,50,000 crore rupees worth of economic burden has come up on the government and the farmers itself.
Normal rains, however, could act as a strong check on inflation by enabling plentiful food stocks. On the other hand, a patchy monsoon could affect the Indian economy's recovery by threatening to curtail food output and raise prices. However, the Met Department has already hinted at a delayed monsoon this year. Rising inflation and delayed monsoon may leave little room for the RBI to cut interest rates in the near term. This is Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The government today held talks with health ministers of various states to formulate a strategy on the common medical entrance test. Union Health Minister JP Nadda said that the central government needs to hold more consultations with state governments on conducting the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test or NEET every year. During a meeting with the state health ministers, Nadda discussed the problems state governments were facing of the common medical entrance test. Nadda said that the state health ministers informed him that woes of the students appearing in the state medical entrance examinations needed to be solved before making NEET a reality across the country.
सारी बातों को ध्यान में लेते हुए समावेश करते हुए सबका स्टेट गवर्नमेंट्स का मानना था कि इसमें समय की आवश्यकता है। इन प्रिंसिपल हम नीट को मानते हैं, लेकिन हमारे को उसके इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में प्रैक्टिकल दिक्कतें हैं, इसलिए समय की आवश्यकता है। इस तरह की बातचीत कही गई है। स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय, केंद्रीय स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय ने उनकी सभी बातें सुनी हैं और उनकी बात को सुनते हुए आगे सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने हम इस विषय को रखेंगे।
With a quick break here, we'll be back with the international news in a bit. Stay with us.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity, promoting public discourse. Events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries on Rajya Sabha television.
Life after death was a cardinal belief in the Harappan civilization. Reflecting this is the skeleton of a middle-aged woman with gold bangles. Excavated from Rakhigadi in Haryana, it's an example of the burial practices in those times. Much like the Egyptian mummies, vessels, eatables, ornaments were kept near the dead body, in the hope that they would be of use to the person in the next world.
Welcome back. Nepal was on the boil again, with hundreds of Madhesis and demonstrators from other minority groups starting fresh protests in the country. They're demanding more rights and representation in Nepal's new constitution. On the second day of the agitation, protesters clashed with police and blocked main streets near the Prime Minister's office. Here's a report.
Hundreds of Madhesis started fresh protests against the new constitution, pressing for more rights, adequate representation and redemarcation of the state boundaries. The Madhesis were joined by protests from other minority groups as they clashed with police and blocked main streets near the Prime Minister's office. Police had to use batons to disperse them.
यो आन्दोलन खाली मधेसीको अधिकार प्राप्तिको लागि मात्रै होइन, मधेसीको अधिकार प्राप्तिको लागि त हो नै, जनजातिको अधिकार प्राप्तिको लागि पनि हो। हिमाल पहाड तराई मधेस जहाँ सुकै पनि शोषण उत्पीडन भएको छ, भेदभाव भएको छ, संविधानमा अधिकार खोसिएको सबै जनताको आन्दोलन हो।
हामीले यो देशमा संविधानमा समानता खोजिरहेछ र यो समानता जबसम्म मिल्दैन तबसम्म हाम्रो आन्दोलन जारी नै रहन्छ।
The major demands of Indian origin Madhesis include a redemarcation of 7-province model of federal structure, inclusiveness and representation of marginalized groups and ethnic minorities, indigenous groups and Dalits in all state bodies. Madhesis had earlier launched a 6-month-long agitation from September 2015 to February 2016, in which 50 people were killed. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to the US, where Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump has hit out at British Prime Minister David Cameron for calling the business tycoon's remarks on Muslims stupid. Trump also challenged the newly elected Sadiq Khan to take an IQ test after the London mayor called him ignorant about his views on Islam.
Republican frontrunner Donald Trump's comments on Muslims seem to have become the proverbial albatross around his neck. Despite softening on his idea of not allowing Muslims to enter America, the comment has earned Trump the wrath of several politicians. UK Prime Minister David Cameron called Trump divisive and wrong in calling for Muslims to be banned from the US. The billionaire retorted that he might not have a very good relationship with Cameron after his remarks.
Well, number one, I'm not stupid, okay? I can tell you that right now. Just the opposite. And number two, in terms of divisive, I don't think I'm a divisive person. I'm a unifier. Unlike our president now, I'm a unifier.
The presumptive Republican candidate in the US presidential election, Donald Trump, called for a ban on Muslims last year when he was not the party's frontrunner. He was also recently attacked by London's new mayor, Sadiq Khan, who called his view of Islam ignorant. Trump challenged Khan to take an IQ test. He also called on Muslims to work with the police and turn people in, saying that he was not anti-Muslim but anti-terror.
Yeah, I am, because he doesn't know me, never met me, doesn't know what I'm all about. I think they're very rude statements, and frankly, tell him I will remember those statements. They're very nasty statements.
Despite being the Republican frontrunner, Trump doesn't enjoy the support of many Republicans, with many seniors refusing to back him. All other Republican rivals have dropped out of the campaign. Protests have also plagued his campaign, with particular focus on his plan to build a wall on the Mexican border and deport 11 million undocumented immigrants. On the Democratic side, Hillary Clinton appears closer to the nomination, having secured more delegates than Bernie Sanders. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's what we have for you on the news at 6. Coming up next is Verdict 2016.